back.
We're back, guys.
Punch me in.
Punch me in.
Episode 5.
Episode 5.
Or 4.2.
Yeah, 4.5.
Part 2.
Part 2.
For part 2.
We're still here with Pepijn,
Pepijn,
Jonge, my brother, and our graphic designer and
Friends. Yeah, definitely. It's super nice that we always have every time we talk, it's so apparent how big this world is and how much there is to it, because we're never done.
And how much there's to talk more about, indeed, and research and find out. And
That's why I could never say I'm an expert, because there's so much. There's so many aspects, there's so many levels, and there's so many different viewpoints on how it's done. So that's also what makes it really fun, I think. You have to find your own path.
We started off with this idea of talking about the process of creating, which is interesting. There are some differences between music and graphic design, but there's also a lot of things that are more or less the same. So how do you create? Pim mentioned that you start off with layering and using images that are already there. There's maybe some things that are similar to sampling, which is very...
And if you don't use existing material, where does
why?
it come from? No, where does it come from then?
Right, okay.
Yeah.
So can you tell us, can you elaborate a little bit about take us into your
let's
process?
use some music terms, I guess, because you just start jamming. I think that would be a really fun way to call it for myself.
Right?
Is
how does the jamming work
So,
in Photoshop?
So yeah, exactly, because ever since I graduated, I work very digital, because everything is closed, because I don't have printers, I don't have... So I work very digital, and I'm very comfortable also in digital working, like all these Adobe programs and coding and stuff. So usually it's Photoshop, but that's for artworks. There's also many other programs, of course, that I use, and I'm also experimenting a little bit, like alternatives to Photoshop, just to get out of your comfort zone. But let's say I'm just making an artwork for something, and what is the most important thing for me is that I really start a conversation with the musician, and what is their starting point? What is their inspiration? I really like it when you give me some visual input, like, this artwork, that I love that. Of course, I'm not gonna make that, but I'll take it with me. For example,
that's
the
how
Blue
we
Note
work.
thing,
The
right?
Blue Note. Yeah.
You love these things, and in the artwork, that's such a clear inspiration. I think that we use this big type and like this divided piece of. So that's the first step for me always. Like, because we need to get on one level, like, what do you want? And of course...
But let's say you're making artwork without a purpose yet. There's no one that asked for it yet. You just start.
Then I'm just playing around.
Okay.
So
but
what I'm trying to say, I use a lot of stock footage, free stock footage you can find online. And it's easier if I have an input. If I have a title of a song, I'll search in Unsplash is a website that I use a lot.
Yeah, but aren't you afraid that people are gonna recognize? Oh, he just took that off Unsplash and blah blah blah.
Same as Spice.
Yeah, Splice.
Splice, excuse
me. For people who don't know, it's a huge sample library, and you can take loops out of it. And if you don't flip it or change it or chop it, people recognize you just took the loop. It's kind of lame.
Right.
Yeah. Well, there's two sides. I think, first of all, you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
True.
Right.
It's there to use, so why not use it? What's wrong with
agree.
that?
Yeah.
On the other side, I never I don't pick a photo and I say, bam, that's the artwork. I always do something with it. I flip it and I tear it apart.
Basically, when I sample a loop, I would never just take it, put it in there, put drums under it, done. I would always chop it, pitch it, flip it.
It's like graphic sampling or something like that. If that's I don't know if that's
sampling.
But it's
I don't know if there's a term, but that's
what you do.
Yeah,
you just make the term.
And you can do it very physically. Why not have magazines and tear out things and put it together in a collage. That's the same thing what I'm doing. I'm just doing it digitally.
Yeah, right. True.
And it's a lot of layering because I usually I find a lot of images that fit with the theme that I relate with, and it can be very different things. Like if you have something as basic as summer is so broad. Yeah. You can have a picture of a beach. You can have sun rays. You can. There's so much that you can associate with summer. So I just download like a whole lot of imagery, and then I start layering it on top of each other and using different blend modes and just seeing what happens. And then usually something visually just like, that's very interesting, and then I kind of save it, and so I save all the versions. Right. So I have like 50 artworks, and then I pick like a couple of them and I expand on those. So it's like really.
But you never.
It's like not never. It's like a pyramid, you know. You start super wide with like all kind of things, and you narrow it down to, right, this is what it's gonna be. And sometimes my association with a term or a theme is very different than yours. Of course. So that's again, there's a, which is also very interesting because now one of the things I really have to start incorporating in my workflow is when I make an invoice, I really should put in like, okay, there's going to be like 2 rounds of feedback. Right. Because otherwise I go way over my hours.
No, definitely. We do that with mixing and mastering too. You need to be clear. Yeah. 2 is max because otherwise otherwise you pay more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And that it could be an extra option. So if you want another time, sure, but then you have to pay. So
but for graphic design, there's a lot of graphic designers who also make their own typography or illustrate everything. So like when you don't start with stock footage, that would be a blank canvas. Then you have to. You have to draw or?
I don't know. I don't really draw, so I use a lot of. But it can be as simple as a texture, right? I remember when you were in your band Clear Clemmer a long time ago. The first artwork we did was this purple shiny universe. That was a photo of my skateboard deck, and I just made it purple, and now it's something completely different. So
it was grainy, you know.
It's like you wouldn't recognize it until I said so. Like, oh, okay, now I see. It's just a.
And the second one was like silk sheet, and it was like. Yeah, I remember.
But even if it's image as visual thing as little as a grain, if you start to enlarge it, for example,
something
or
happens.
if you repeat it.
Yeah. So that is really your style and work thing is not really. Is really like a sampler, like a musician who samples, and it's not like a musician who creates everything from scratch per se.
No. Right. And there's of course
other graphic designers who do only that, you know, like
exactly.
So it is.
And it's something I want to in the future. Yeah, I would really like to have my own silkscreen press,
because
example,
you can also draw,
or have my own printers where I can really experiment with paper and with what kind of inks, you know, like what is
material, the effect of the material.
I really miss that
your
right
art,
now because I'm just making visual artworks a lot.
But this room, is you need a workspace almost.
You did the graphic design work for his vinyl album. Yeah. Must be more or less the same, that you design something digitally, and then you convert it to analog to something really.
And there was of course instantly a situation where I made this, and now I'm going to get a little bit technical, but a screen has RGB colors because the screen is made of red, green, and blue dots, and we print with CMYK, which is cyan, magenta, yellow, and key, which is black. True. So it's the 4 inks. True. It's not the same color spectrum. You can't print the same thing. So I make an artwork for Spotify in RGB colors. You know, it's Enjoy the Ride. It's this super colorful, which also happened by accident. One of the experiments where I did a lot of things with photos, and then I kind of had this gradient.
Always reminds me of Jamie XX or something.
It's a little bit. It has it's the same rainbow thing. But.
And there's also a lot of colors in there. And every color, maybe even.
No, it's 4 colors, right? Okay. It's the yellow, purple, magenta rag and a green.
He knows better than me.
Of course.
Because they're all of
You
the
designed
borders.
Yeah, I hope so.
Every one of the borders is one of these colors. Like Sebastian Kamae Enjoy the Ride.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I was trying to segue into is like that.
You have to convert from RGB to...
Well, it's not gonna
Yeah.
look the same.
No,
Exactly.
definitely
So
not.
Enjoy the Ride was also kind of an accident that just visually really worked.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then we had like, okay, we're gonna print it on like with a printer, like So I had to
Paper,
really, and I was a bit very
also-
afraid for when we were receiving the. We were of course talking with the press and
The printers.
the company that would.
Yeah.
Because there's like we were talking with the company that would produce the vinyls, and they talk with the press, right? So
With the
there's
printer.
no. It would be nicer if I could directly talk to
right.
the printer.
Yeah.
Next
But-
time.
Yeah, who knows?
But there's also not only a front. There's a side, back.
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
We didn't have any of that.
No.
So
Well, you had a back.
do we?
Yeah, we had the track
we
list.
used. We had a little track list I made. Exactly.
That's it.
But yeah, we kind of had to make everything from scratch there.
And we had all the pictures.
And we had the singles, of course, the 5 singles, which all had their own color as well. And this is where our friend Rick van der Klooster got involved, because he's an amazing photographer, and we really wanted to. My brother going to Chicago and finding a lot of music there and a lot of really nice contacts and friends, and that's really important for my brother.
But there wasn't really a big concept. Like I made
Yeah.
the tracks, and it was like it fits together. You know, like it was an album. But if someone was like, "Where's the album about?" or "What's the concept?" there wasn't really an answer. So
Even there, I kind of did the input there
yeah,
as well.
exactly.
I
Rick,
said,
Pepijn, and I teamed up and trying to make the concept around it, also visually.
Right.
And I made all these pictures in Chicago, and we used a lot of those pictures. Plus, Rick started walking around Chicago in Google Maps. You know how you can go through the city,
Right.
and he looked for interesting, weird things. For example, one of the
Street
artworks.
view is that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Street
Street
View.
view.
And
One
you
of the
just found
artworks
weird
has
stuff
a
there.
has a skeleton sitting on the balcony, and he found that on Street View somewhere in Chicago. And then he made with the analog camera, he made pictures of his screen,
Oh, right.
and then he sent them to Pepijn. And Pepijn did what he was just talking about, the sampling thing. He like warped it.
Not even.
No,
I
actually-
didn't do anything with his pictures.
Not that much.
Of
yeah,
course,
so-
we talked a lot about
Well,
like,
yeah, the
what will the
border
colors
and-
be like, and that is very important. But he's a professional in his field, as a photographer,
Yeah.
as an image maker. So I also,
respected that.
I'm as a designer, I'm just gonna frame what he's doing.
Yeah, of
I don't
course,
have
yeah.
to
Yeah.
do anything with his.
True.
But we were using these photos to kind of tell this story of how you are going to Chicago and making it's such a big experience for you that we really wanted to tell this story.
Yeah.
And then what I think is really funny is I was like, what if you start the album with like the sound of you getting on the airplane or leaving your home, and that's how the album starts now.
Yeah.
Is you getting on the plane
And you
and
hear
then you
the
hear
voice
the lady.
from the airplane, like "Welcome to Chicago O'Hare Airport" and blah blah
Yeah,
blah.
so it all blends together as it also musically started to incorporate this idea
graphic
of
design and
the
art.
ride.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's the message in there.
And
of
this is again
enjoying
like
it. Yeah.
the thing that we discussed in our previous part, that you work very conceptual,
yeah.
like with the
Bird
helicopter
view,
view. Yeah, right. So this is a perfect example how you
Yeah.
work with a musician or an artist and incorporate all those different aspects and
from-
create.
Yeah, and that's for an artist
Creating a
can
world.
be amazing because I'm
Yeah,
not that great
course.
conceptually,
Yeah.
and I
right.
like to have other people give input. And there's probably other artists who are very good conceptually and don't need that much input, and they're just like, no, you do the visual part only. I know what I want or how this is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
there's
great.
even very famous duos that like Gorillas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
same.
It's like
Yeah.
Alburn and the Huel, I think is his name at least.
I don't know what they're called, but
basically they are both the band, and
Mhm.
one of them is the visual
yeah,
guy who,
True.
and he's part
True.
of the band. You know,
Yeah,
it's
true.
them,
And they
and
don't
the other
even
one
make the music.
makes the music.
It's the same with the Dutch duo. They actually broke up now, but it's called Drulu. And it was
Okay.
on Bitbird, San Holo's label, and one of the guys is just making the music, and the other one was the graphic designer, and he also animated all kinds of stuff in 3D. And then they both did the live sets together on DJing. It's super dope.
And of course, I'm much more in the background in these projects, but there are famous duos that are like visual artists that are also on the front of this.
yeah, of course.
Which is
Pepijn
very
Van Lanen
interesting,
also did it.
Yeah, Pepijn van Lanen from Faber Yeo, from de jeugd van
Oh
tegenwoordig.
yeah.
He also
it's
has
the
a
same,
group called Lulle,
Oh yeah.
which is I have to put that
Yeah,
in the
it's
playlist.
amazing.
Lulle is very foute muziek. I don't know how you would translate that in
Well, yeah,
English. It's like a little bit too sexy or something.
I don't
It's
know.
a bit, I don't know.
Doesn't even need a description.
But it's
Well,
3 guys. It's him doing vocals in French and German and English and Dutch, and it's Reimer London, who is the DJ who makes the beats, and it's Piet Parra, who is a graphic designer,
Oh, Pete Parra.
who is like a bit like I don't know, Keith Haring. You know, it's a
Yeah.
very
Oh, yeah.
commercial,
Yeah.
big graphic
Yeah.
designer.
isn't he literally on stage?
drawing
Drawing
stuff with
stuff, and
a
there's
with
a-
a beamer?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so he's a part of the show.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy's on
Very,
stage.
very
drawing.
interesting.
So
If
dope.
we're talking
Very
about how
interesting.
related the process, how related
Yeah.
the worlds are, they
Yeah.
can be one.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and also from the branding point of view, we just mentioned the influence of your artwork on my artwork, the Blue Note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Blue Note concept, it's like world famous. I mean, you can recognize every album cover of a Blue Note just by the album cover.
Yeah, definitely.
And so it's Andy Warhol with the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, who worked with great
Amazing,
graphic
yeah.
designers. I mean, this is like
And it also
history.
it has to be a cup of tea. For me, Radiohead,
Yeah.
they have I think it's one I don't know his name, but I think it's one really an artist who always makes their album artworks,
yeah.
and like and it's amazing how well it fits with the music, because it's music that you really have to get into. It's not just your first listen and you're
No,
like,
no,
I love
no,
Radiohead.
no,
It's
no.
very complicated and
Yeah.
it's very nuanced,
Emotional.
and the artwork
Yeah,
is exactly
very
the
deep,
same.
yeah.
Because the first time you see the artwork, you think, I don't know if I like
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and then it really has to grow on you, and it's so good.
Yeah.
It's really art. I think it's amazing what he does, and it fits
You
so
have this
well.
with video creators also. Like I think you mentioned one dude a
Oh,
while
yeah.
ago, and you were like, "Oh, someday we need to work with this guy. He makes like these crazy."
What he does, I think he makes analog video, and he has tapes, and he like paints on the tapes or
Yeah,
something like, and
amazing.
it's such an amazing
Effect.
visual effect.
So here we talked about free art and applied art. So
Yeah.
here you find something where there's not a.
It's not clear.
No,
anymore what
it's
it is.
it's like blurred lines.
It also
to speak
really
with,
doesn't matter, right? What
And also,
is, like-
he does this out of a necessity,
that.
you know? He just shits out so many of these videos. Like, it never stops. It's so much content he's making, you know?
Who
so
is
it's.
he?
I also don't remember. his
We can
name.
put it in the description because I
Yeah.
don't remember
Okay.
exactly what his
Oh
Instagram
yeah.
is.
Maybe nice for our listeners. Just a little heads up. On our video in our Instagram, probably we're gonna give you a playlist
Yeah.
of all the songs that inspired Pepijn.
Yeah, and on
with this
YouTube as well.
input.
Yeah.
YouTube.
So if you're listening on a streaming platform right now, you cannot see us. If you also want to see us, you
Yeah.
can go ahead and go to YouTube,
YouTube.
where everything will be uploaded with video as well. And in the description there will be links to the playlists, music,
Right.
everything we talk about.
Website.
Exactly, but also you can follow us on social media at the Punch Me In Podcast, where we will post snippets and keep you updated with like when we have new episodes coming out or
Right.
content.
Yeah.
Right. So
But-
this
but,
is
yeah.
important.
Yeah, so I'll make a little playlist with some things like Turbo Wolf or Lulle, which we
Yeah.
talked about, and maybe some tracks that
You made the artworks for.
artworks for.
Yeah,
Or
nice.
maybe some
Yeah.
weird shit that I listen
Inspires
to.
you.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
great. That
I
would
think
be
it would be
great.
really fun.
Yeah, that's
and I will
great.
put
That's
that in
great.
the description, and you can check that out.
Yeah.
If you are curious, I think that's cool.
Okay. Yeah. So we're talking about because we segued now.
Yeah.
Yeah, where were we?
We were talking about
question.
this guy making these amazing videos,
Oh, yeah.
and I think that's also something we try to maybe touch upon is like the medium that we're working, because we're talking a lot about squares in Spotify right now, of course, the artwork or maybe the vinyl.
But especially in the lo-fi hip hop, anime is of course a big thing.
Yeah.
Your work, my work as well, is being used by these guys who make anime with
Edits and
out
stuff.
It's
tracks,
like these
edits.
animated loops,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
It's little loops that.
The aesthetic works well
Yeah.
together.
Yeah,
And
Interesting
that's-
how they are somehow linked. This really big and amazing producer called Flying Lotus, Flylo. He is really famous. Obviously, he just made the whole soundtrack and a whole album for a new Netflix anime series. So like
Wow.
this is being done like
Yeah.
on the biggest scale you
and
can
this
think
is
of.
lo-fi hip hop.
Not really,
Chill.
but it is instrumental and
Right.
it's experimental beats. I would say.
Okay.
Very jazzy.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, it's jazzy and like, yeah, it's not granular
it's-
binaural beats, crazy
Okay,
shit, but it's not
okay.
lo-fi hip hop.
But
But
it's, again, the visual aspect is very important for
yeah,
the
and
music.
lo-fi
or-
hip hop obviously comes from all this stuff, you know.
Yeah.
It comes from Boom Bap and J Dilla and
Yeah, sure, yeah.
and Nujabes, who did all, Nujabes was a Japanese artist, I think, who did all the also worked with anime.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Animators and stuff. So this is
Yeah.
really connected in the history. I don't know.
And why I also touch upon it is like because if you have a vinyl, that's all. Like I love vinyl records because you
Me
can
too.
open them. And
Yeah.
It's like a little package,
Yeah.
and
Dope.
that's
Yeah.
the
True
experience
that. And you
of,
can
of
feel,
opening.
you can touch it,
Exactly, it's
you
super
can
important.
smell it.
What kind of paper do you use?
Yeah,
What-
it touches
It's,
the
it's super
senses.
important.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
this
true.
experience
True,
of
true.
unwrapping
Yeah,
your music,
Yeah.
right?
it's like
So-
a
And
little
you're playing it-
present, a
And,
gift.
and that's what
Without a
also
computer, also.
that's also what we're
Yeah.
doing digitally, because you're also still unwrapping it, but the experience is very different. And I think on streaming platforms, it's extremely limited right now.
Right.
Where is this experience
Yeah.
of unwrapping the music?
Yeah.
And I think as a technological platform, there is so much that can be done.
Yeah.
You know, even
On
if it's
websites, for example.
GIFs. How long have these been around?
Yeah.
So long. Videos, coding.
Yeah.
There's so much interactive things you can do already, but these streaming platforms are stuck with the square. You can't even turn it around and see the back of an
Right,
artwork.
right,
It's just
Right.
this
You're,
is
you're
it.
talking about the cover art of an
Yeah.
a track that you upload
And-
at the DSPs like
Yeah.
Apple Music,
Exactly.
like
And
Spotify, or
I don't
whatever.
think they care enough about it because they obviously their core business is people streaming. Like I don't think
And I'm- yeah,
the
and-
audience, their users or
Mhm.
them care too much about it to really get this changed. You
Yeah,
know,
and
like
I want
they-
to make a disclaimer because the one thing is very important. I'm not trying to make it a visual platform. The music is what it's about, of course, but it's again this experience of unwrapping it. That is, I think, could be really
But maybe
explored a lot
Enhanced,
more.
Right.
But
But,
also
but
this-
it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be the main focus, of course, because the main focus is the music. We want you to listen to a song, right?
Well,
But
of course, when you see the influence of the images, for example, in video clip, they can enhance the impact of the music.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not just
I saw this tweet one day from an artist manager from Koan Sound, who is a producer duo from the UK. They make amazing electronic music, and their manager said like, if all artists would stand up in this ideal fantasy world,
yeah.
stop using these platforms and create their own website where you, for example, enter and this crazy visual comes up and you can pay, for example, $1 or more, whatever you want, like Bandcamp. Like you can
Right.
support them and
Yeah.
then get access to the new
Yeah.
album and this whole crazy
Yeah, right,
video start.
right.
And like you can do whatever you want on your website and make that would be
isn't that the ultimate your own world where you draw the listener into.
But you need a fan base for it.
Yeah,
You need a fan
how do you get
base.
people to go to your website?
Exactly.
That's the
And
trick.
you need also something that a lot of artists don't have.
And
You
that's-
need to have a business kind
Yeah.
of view to
And that's
it.
why I love Spotify and Apple Music and all these
Because they
people
take
are
care.
already there.
Yeah, and they take
And it
care
is
of
an amazing
Of course.
opportunity for us to create this fan base.
Exactly,
and
but
make
there's
money
nothing
from
it.
wrong
True
with
that,
streaming,
true that.
and that's also has never been my point.
Well, Bandcamp is one of the DSPs
Yeah.
who comes closest to that kind of
True.
ideal
Definitely.
world.
Well, they dare to think a lot broader, I think, and also
Yeah.
I think they care more about the musician, the artist.
Well, and also they give a lot of opportunities for the artist to connect with the fan base.
yeah, and I think that's what
Instead
it's
of
about.
Apple Music
Yeah.
or Spotify.
That
If
was
you
a-
say that we need a fan base,
That's what
this
I
is
miss
true.
from the old SoundCloud days. You
Yeah.
had this, obviously still a dope thing from SoundCloud, but the platform itself is a little dead. Was that you can comment on stuff, send people DMs.
Yeah, right.
That is a thing you cannot do on DSPs, which is also a blessing because then my inbox would be even fuller. but it's also would be cool if you could see comments under your tracks
Yeah,
and stuff, or
yeah.
if you could, for example, customize your top 10.
Yeah,
My top
right.
10 tracks would look so different.
My favorite
Yeah.
part
Back in
about
Jesus.
SoundCloud is you can comment,
Yeah.
and that's amazing. But you can see at which point in the song
Yeah.
someone
Yeah, yeah,
commented,
yeah,
and
yeah.
that's so cool
Yeah.
because someone is like, "Oh, now it's like, oh,
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
dropped."
Yeah, so
you know,
dope, yeah.
That is
This
so
hits so hard here. And
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and that is really fun. That's such a nice interaction because it's not just like, "Hey, I really like your song," but it's like in the moment.
Yeah, yeah, right.
You can exactly pinpoint.
It's specific.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah,
That's
it's
really nice.
specific. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. True that. True that.
So yeah, and also I think when I did my research last year for the streaming platforms, SoundCloud was the only one where you could click on the artwork and it would show
Yeah,
a little
bigger.
bit bigger.
All right.
Not like full screen, but like a little bit bigger.
yeah,
Like, This is
okay.
the only one where you can.
Well, you have this
Click
little
it.
thing in Spotify where it's like really small and you click on it, it gets a little bigger, but it's still very
Yeah.
small, obviously.
And also one of the things I was interested in, like, okay, what if you can click on it, and what if you can flip it and you can
Yeah, that
do
would be
things
dope.
with it? But then again, it's very interesting to go in this digital world.
Mm-hmm.
You try to make it physical again, and you go back to the vinyl record where you can flip it around. But maybe that's not necessary at all
No,
because
maybe
it's not a
it's-
vinyl record.
Maybe
right?
it's meant to be
You can do
digital
something
and
different.
analog, maybe it's meant to be different
Yeah.
from each other.
That's where my imagination starts going. Like what if you have an artwork where you can click on different things or you can pull things out. and
Well, that's what
can
you could do
change
on your own
things.
website, for example.
What if you have a beat with an artwork, and if you press a certain thing or if you change a color, the beat changes. Like these kind of things. Like you can go
Interactive.
so
Yeah.
Amazing.
wild.
Would also fit good in your concept with your name, Mindr, and
Yeah.
you could
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
make
well,
an
I-
app. And
I have
Mindr.
great. I've.
I would like to have
Too many
like
ideas.
like
Yeah.
the things I when I started out making music, I only bought vinyls, and the thing what I liked about vinyls was the extra information. So
Oh, yeah.
I turned it around and I looked who wrote this song, who played on this song,
produced
when,
it.
who produced it,
Yeah.
where was it recorded. I would like to know everything on it. This is what I don't have to really, like you say, flip it around. No,
No,
but
but-
I'm interested in the information that
I just saw an album recently on vinyl, and the wave files, like literally the
Yeah.
visual
I
of the
just
wave
did that
files,
in a project.
was used on the vinyl, and there was all the instruments used.
yeah, right,
And the producer's
exactly.
credited.
The
Yeah.
Staat did this. I
Yeah.
showed
Oh,
you right with O
Cool.
from the Staat, the
Yeah.
circle.
Yeah.
They have on the inside. I have the
Yeah.
limited edition
All the
vinyl.
instruments are like displayed.
All the plugins they used in
Right,
the programs.
right.
Everything is
Amazing.
laid out.
Yeah,
And
it's
also now, which is a lot less impressive as that, but I'm working with another musician for his CD right now. And we have a little booklet, and because it's instrumental music, so we don't have lyrics to put in there, we literally are using the sound waves as one
okay, yeah,
big
that's the
narrative.
idea.
right.
Just,
Yeah, that's
amazing.
good. Great, great,
So, yeah.
great.
Really
Love it.
It's,
So
nice.
you still have the visual aspect with which can enhance the experience of the audio. Let's hear the
yeah,
sound.
and I really like
you
the,
really get into what you like to get into with the world of an artist, not just
yeah.
like two separate things. No, they're included.
Exactly.
It's one world.
And also, you instead of reading along with the lyrics, like what are they saying, what are they trying to tell me, you can visually see like, oh, it's gonna get like
Louder and bigger.
louder. That's
Yeah.
also, I think, really interesting to
Yeah,
read
yeah,
along
yeah.
because he makes this. I think he calls it future funk, but it's like this super jazz, which is super technical and it's amazing. I admire him very much as a musician because it's technically way over my head. Like, again, I just do everything on feeling. If you tell me play a C, then I have to search on my guitar, like, where is the C? Because I just do everything by sound. So it's technology amazing, and then it's so fun to see the music,
The waveform.
waveforms, because it adds so much to. I don't to like you can really see it and then hear how it explodes. You know, it's so fun. So there's so many things with Mindr, with your project. I think I've been thinking a lot about. We talk a lot about what if, you know, in the future. It would be so nice to, because we kind of use these places. We try to avoid putting people in the artwork. So it's really about the place, the nature, the city, to kind of really, what if we could like make a room which the walls were this landscape, and you walk into it, you know, like make this. I don't know. We can go.
I also had this concept like recently, just a random thought. I probably won't do it, but would also fit your project where you go literally like the humans are pretty out of touch with nature nowadays, and where you do like a project where you travel the world to different areas where there's still nature, still the boss, you know, where the humans didn't overrule the nature yet, and you like go and record sounds there and document the whole thing, make a documentary and an album with all these sounds and stuff. There's just so much possibility.
Yeah, it is.
That would be crazy.
That's funny because we're also doing this kind of world tour concept.
Amazing idea, right? Like I think.
Yeah, where we're kind of, because you can see your stats, where are the people that are listening to my music.
Using
That's
the
cool.
data.
And we can't really travel right now, so what if we audibly, I don't know, like
people,
musically travel to these places and kind of do a tour of
audible.
I think people at Spotify and other DSPs would also love to see you use that creatively. And if you
I don't know, like it's not very easy to
get
reach
to
them or something, because even
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No. But my graduation project, of course, is on Spotify, and it's like a comment on Spotify.
Yeah.
And they didn't ban me. They haven't even seen it. You know, it's just
not.
there.
Yeah, but they get like 40,000 songs per day.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. So it's
But
how
where
do
do
you
you
get
guys see your projects and yourself in like 5 years? And then we'll wrap it up soon. But like I'm curious to that, because you just graduated like a year ago, and the Corona times flies. But
there's a lot of changes to be made. I really would like to get my own apartment. That would be very nice.
Yeah, of course.
But also, I have a side job right now, just to make some actual money, so I can perhaps get an apartment sometime. And I'm also helping out
But I'm guessing
with the Corona.
In 5 years, you would love to not be doing that.
Yeah. So what I'm trying, I'm now, I think in June I'm starting to work 3 days there instead of 4, because
so it's already going slowly.
Because I'm trying to build up my own graphic business and kind of slow down. Because also the work there is finite, because at one point the coronavirus will be gone, hopefully.
More contained.
Or at least, we already notice it now. These last 2 weeks have been much calmer. Which,
here in
at
Holland,
least in Zeeland.
Yeah.
So I would really like to, I have some big plans to really redo my website, because now it's more like, please hire me with all my work, instead of, hey musician,
okay,
this
but
is what I can do for you.
But if you think bigger,
so that's my first steps, right? So I need to find my target audience, and I need to broaden that. So I need to maybe talk to labels and send them.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
this is what I can do.
Yeah.
Do you, etc. And also to reach musicians. How does that work?
Yeah.
And so ideally, I would do that for a living.
Yeah.
And ideally with a lot of clients like you, where it's very open and honest, I think. And I would love, like, you guys, of course, can't see or hear or you can hear, but you can't see where we are right now. But we were in a graphic design studio
In Amsterdam.
In Amsterdam, and this is an amazing place. So
Shout out to Van Lennep.
Yep, for real.
yeah, it's such a cool place, and it really gets your creative juices
Yeah.
flowing instantly.
True.
So I would really love to have my own place like that, where the environment around you already challenges you and inspires you. Because now I'm in my old
Bedroom.
children's bedroom,
Right.
and I have way too much stuff. And
For that
there's like a
room.
giant 2-person bed in
So
there.
if you dream big, you maybe have a nice house in nature where you have an inspiring environment.
I want to live in the forest or
with
in
a
the
dog
dunes with
and
a dog.
a girl and there's like you have these clients and you're doing this fully like full time. You're doing this graphic design maybe.
Yeah,
And like okay, that's dope.
that would be fun.
Yeah.
I believe we have to wrap it up, guys.
Okay. Well.
What do you see?
No, it doesn't matter. We can make 40-minute episodes. I think we shouldn't stop it now. Like now, I want to hear your 5
Oh,
years.
I just thought we're gonna do the our guests' future. I mean,
We can talk about this later.
we can talk this.
You can talk about your future in a whole episode.
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
Okay, cool. We'll wrap it up for now.
Okay. Well,
Go check out my brother Pepijn on Instagram. That is at
Pepijnlijk.
Pepijn Like.
Yeah, it's very Dutch.
We'll put it in the description as well.
Yeah.
Or his website www.jorispepijndejonge.nl, which is obviously not understandable for
Dutch.
people who aren't Dutch,
No,
but we'll
it's my full name.
yeah.
Again, it's under construction, so the mobile version is not really working
It
right
doesn't
now.
matter,
So
that-
please
yeah.
go to the.
But
to your
check
desktop.
out his work. It's really dope. And,
Yeah, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
means a
here
lot.
and
Oh, thank you. It's such a natural place for me to be here because
Yeah.
it's like in between my two companions in the music world. So
Between graphic.
Yeah,
in the graphic,
exactly.
exactly. So it's a
Art
match
world.
made in heaven.
Yeah.
And now I'm gonna put way too much work into making this awesome playlist because I love that stuff. No, this song has to go like next to that song. And yeah, I'll get way too enthusiastic about it.
That's fine.
And,
lose yourself in it.
And yeah.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for
Whoever
having
listens
me.
to our
Thanks for
podcast.
having
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It's,
Well,
Punch me out. We'll talk about our future later. See you in
And,
episode 6.
yeah. More about mind, music, and
the business.
business.
Hey, that's well said. All right, punch me up.
Punch me out.